Hi, this is John from Sterling-Lancaster TV. I'm here with Hunter Cheney. He's here to talk about the event today as well as upcoming events.
Great. Hi, John. So today we have our World War II tank demonstration weekend. So as you can see, we're pulling out several of our most iconic rare tanks from World War II. We do a kind of an exhibition with these tanks, parade them around, we do some historical narration behind the tanks. We have a general saying here at the museum is that if you read something from history, you might remember, but if you experience something from history, you tend not to forget. So a lot of what we do, a lot of our programs are around the interaction, this tactile interaction with major historical pieces. It's one thing to see a tank in a museum setting in display, but to have them out in the sunshine like this, operating, they take on a whole different personality, and it's a lot of fun. It's a unique thing, and some of the tanks that we have out here are quite rare. The Hetzer tank, the M26 Pershing, of course the iconic M4 Sherman tank. They're all out and beautifully restored, so they're running quite smoothly, and so it's something we look forward to doing every summer. So every couple months we bring the tanks out for an exhibition like this.
And the great thing is you'll see this afterwards as all these tanks out here. We did a parade here and it was awesome with all the people and the interactions and such. So what's coming up as far as events?
So couple things that we're really excited about that are coming up. Next month, September 17th and 18th, is our World War I Aviation Weekend. Here for years now, we've been restoring a Newport 28. So this is a very rare World War I aircraft. Technically, it's America's first fighter that was commissioned into the military. One of only a couple that are operating in the world now. So we finally finished restoration. It's actually in Sweden right now as we speak, on a ship getting shipped here to the United States. And in September is when we'll have the plane out. We actually hope to fly it. And in addition to that, we'll have some World War I aircraft from the Rhinebeck collection will be here. And also we'll have very rare artifacts from World War I, primarily around World War I fighter aces Rickenbacker and Campbell. And so we'll have these artifacts out, and living history camps will be set up, so people will learn the life of a World War I soldier. They'll learn the life of what it was like in the trenches of World War I. So when people come, not only will they be able to see some really, really rare World War I aircraft operate, but they'll get a real immersive experience with the living history aspects of the event. And then after that, probably our largest living history event that we have of the year is our World War II reenactment.
That's when, October?
That's right, October 8th and 9th, Battle for the Airfield. So the same premise with the World War I Aviation Weekend, where camps are set up. You have all these reenactors that come from all around the country. They live for this weekend.
Yeah, I plan to go to that as well.
Yeah, it's so fun, John. And these guys, men and women, they're invited. They go through a registration process, and the quality of reenacting that they bring is truly exceptional. Everything you see, from the cigarettes to the magazines, the uniforms, the tents, everything is straight out of 1944. And so when you go into the camps, you learn the life of a soldier. You learn what it's like to be a soldier in World War II. Not only on the American side, but we have representation, of course, of the Germans, the Russians, the French, the Italians. They're all out and being represented as part of this living history event. And all of the tanks that are out here now, they also participate in this reenactment. And it's what we call dynamically choreographed.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of very unique chronology of the reenactment itself. So it's very rich with content, and as of course as part of that, we have our pyrotechnics, which makes for a really exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, this has
great.
been great.
Yeah, good.
Thanks so much.
Sean.
Thanks. Now, what you'll see is some of the both the museum parts as well as the tanks for the parade. So it's a beautiful day, beautiful weekend, and we hope to see you in September and October here.
Great. Yeah.
It's along the line. It's a particularly rare tank. We're really excited to get this tank out in the sunshine. It's a M26 version. Probably the most advanced American tank came in at the tail end of World War II and went into the Korean War. And then coming out now, that's the M4A3 German. Was mass-produced and widely used medium tank for the Allied forces. So we're positioning the tanks to get ready for our exhibition that can start around 11 o'clock. You can see our chief tankologist, Dick Moran, who is guiding the 46.
So again, my name is Tim Cipriani. I'm a World War II reenactor. I'm part of the 12th Reenacting Society, which is a 501c3 educational foundation. And we do living histories, and we do battles and tacticals. This is being filmed now at the Collings Museum. We'll be back in October for the great big event when our tank here will be running. This is a Stug or Sturmgeschütz Model 3G. It's a anti-tank platform built on the Mark III Panzer. This is not an original, as is the Hetzer next to us. This was built in England a couple years ago off of a British armored personnel carrier hull and diesel Rolls-Royce engine, but a post-war Czechoslovakian top. And so we had this shipped over last year. We are the only German reenacting unit in the Northeast. We also have a troop truck, which isn't here this weekend. We have a staff car, and next year we'll have our own Kubelwagen. So we are a motorized reenacting group. We also use our feet, but driving vehicles and riding in them is more fun than walking.
Yeah, I do want to thank you. We just had a long conversation about my family actually came from Bremen. My dad's name is actually Karl Heinz. You have a relative as well?
And
named Karl Heinz.
my mother's side of the family came from Schleswig-Holstein, born German, but then some of them became Danish when the boundaries switched after the First War. And my mother was actually born into German occupation in 1940. And my eldest great uncle was killed at Verdun, so I use his name and persona to do a first person impression. And I have period photos that look like me and my relatives from that era, which is actually correct. I speak, read, and write German, so I'm also the staff clerk. I'm the infantry commander. I take the photographs with an original camera, fill out all the paperwork. So we do take volunteers, units. You can join up and play the other side.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your time. It was a great discussion that we had a little while ago. You showed the ammunition. You showed all the money that you have from back in the 20s and such. So it was great to learn that as well. Like I just got back from Germany a couple months ago. Learned more at Lake Dachau at the concentration camp, and I actually learned a lot more today. I want to thank you for your time. Nice to meet you.
There's nothing quite like seeing a tank drive around, driving in a tank, flying in a historic aircraft, doing activities that envelop you in something historical. What we hope through these experiences is that not only does this give you a better sense of appreciation of what our veterans were doing, but to add motivation to want to learn more. Because of course all of us know the saying when it comes to history is that for those who forget history are condemned to repeat it. So you can see why we put a lot of emphasis on World War II being the worst conflict in human history. So a lot of emphasis goes on that. We started out with a classic car collection, and it quickly moved into the restoration and operation of historic aircraft. So for the last 30 plus years, the real meat and potatoes of what we've been doing has been the operation of historic aircraft. And to the point now that we operate one of the world's largest collections of historic aircraft. So some are here, we have some down in Florida and out in Texas. And the aircraft collection spans from pre-World War I all the way up to Vietnam era, where we have our Vietnam Memorial Flight Collection in Houston.
I'm Paul Mita.
Hi, I'm Armin Bissett.
So tell me a little bit about the tank itself.
The tank is a Sherman M4A1, built in 42. It's actually built by Ford, and people don't realize some of the stuff that during World War II, how much Ford did produce. They were huge. This has got an actual Ford V8 engine in it. It's 1,100 cubic inches, 500 horse. It's all aluminum. It's extremely high tech, even by today's standards. And with 1,100 pounds of torque, it really gets this thing moving pretty good. It's got a 4-speed transmission with a high-low range. And
It has Goodyear tires I see on the front here.
yeah, Goodyears and Firestone. They were obviously the manufacturers back then. Back in World War II, unlike today, manufacturing, in the States, we built, I think it was 90% of the manufacturing for the United States was built right here. And today it's like 20%. So you can see how the economy and everything's changed. But back then, you know, all these different manufacturers came together. We've got another tank we're working on. It's a Stewart, and the gun mechanism in it was built by a printing machine company. So you can see how all different manufacturers in the Northeast was a big hub. They had huge manufacturing in Massachusetts. Connecticut was really big. They had a lot of different manufacturers down in the Bridgeport area and stuff like that. So yeah, it was basically a big group effort to get everything together.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to coming out in September and October for those events as well.
Yeah. September should be real. October should be real good.
Yeah.
We'll be here. There'll be a lot of vehicles. You'll be seeing the live firing or rounds being fired, blank rounds being fired.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good event, and if people can come out and see it, it'll be worth it.
Yeah, and the pyrotechnics, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Because I'm a licensed pyrotechnician myself. So
Oh.
I work for Atlas up
Yeah.
in New Hampshire.
Yep.
So what do you have for, like I see the ammunition up here?
Why don't you bring one of those rounds down? Sure. This is obviously
That is cool.
a simulation.
Come down and talk about your round.
Yeah, if it was really be heavier.
Yeah, exactly. But you get an idea of the size.
Oh, but I love the fact that it's aluminum. Yeah. I'm sure that's a lot.
Here's our resident gunner, Steve.
Yeah.
Loader.
Loader gunner. Yeah.
Ammo supplier. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the ammunition?
Well, the 75 was a very versatile gun. Very versatile. You could fire, what this would be an example of is armor-piercing high explosive, where they have a time delay fuse you can actually set by screwdriver. We're talking like milliseconds here.
Yeah.
You'd hit a target, and all that does is actually send a channel. There's like a regular little 9mm in the tip. Hit that, and it would send a jet of fire, and it would have to go all the way around before getting to the main fuse of the weapon. So that would just get you from like the outer edge of your bunker to the middle of the bunker before exploding out.
Oh yeah. So it's not at the edge.
And
Nice.
the Shermans actually had 3 different loads. They could do a normal load where they would set the amount of powder in the shell, so they actually had specified on different locations in the tank, so if it was sitting in there, you'd be able to tell what you were going to grab. They could say, I need a reduced round or a charged super if they were going to go punch through a tank or something. The tank commander could call for different specified rounds based on how much they had in it, and then how much they what the type of target would be designated if they wanted to fire armored piercing, high explosive. They had smoke rounds, Willie Pete, or white phosphorus rounds, so they could actually disperse white phosphorus that would burn through anything, and if it hit the ground, it'd actually create enough smoke that they could blind their targets. So a lot of the Shermans were coming up against bigger tanks that they couldn't handle, so they would use often a tactic to blind the enemy with smoke and either force them out of hiding or flank them while they were obscured of view. And a lot of the Germans would jump out of their tank just being hit by a white phosphorus round, because now they got burning metal on the top of their tank, and they're not going to wait around to find out if it's actually going to catch fire. And their fuel systems, they got it was scary enough that it would burn your eyes and everything if it was going off. At one point they tried to get it outlawed by the Geneva Convention as a chemical weapon.
Yeah, I can see that. How does it feel being in the sun with the jacket on?
Oh, well, this is actually a winter tanker jacket,
Yeah.
but I think we lucked out today. It's not as hot as it was last April. We were cooking
Yeah.
compared to that, but it's a whole lot of fun just to come out and get into the tank. And I'm normally down in the turret, so I get a nice little view about this big.
Yep. And no AC inside, I'm sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I thank you for your time. This is an awesome tank.
Oh, thanks for coming out.
Thanks. Take care.
Yeah.
During World War II, definitely the most iconic tank of World War II. And behind that is a light tank, the M24 Chaplain. So the second tank in line that you see, the M18 Hellcat, it weighs about 37,000 pounds. We're talking about 18 tons. It's a pretty light tank, you know. It was made to be very quick. It's kind of a shoot and scoot type of a tank. Takes a crew of 5, like most of the tanks you can see out there. There's some back there. The crew usually consists of a commander, a gunner, a loader, driver, an assistant driver, and bow gunner. Of course, the real big part about the F-26 Pershing is the fact that it was one of the first things that could really pose any threat to the Panther fighter tanks from World War II. And the reason for that is that one of the first big guns that penetrate the armor of that of the Panthers and the fighter tanks. Thankfully, the F-26 Pershing will hold about 70 or there goes that portion. Again, it's considered a medium. That's the thing about Sherman is that there are many different variations of that so we carry a variety of different types of cannons. In this case, probably the Sherman 76 on it. It's 76. That's a 76 millimeter cannon. Now we have the German 251 coming out. Right. So this is actually a tank built. It's called an Oaks-H-Man, and it's based off of the German 251 half-track. It's a tricky half-track to drive. Colin, you could probably... basically it's full driven on the brakes. The two front wheels guide wheels, basically. They look like they use the speed of 12. So it's